Hi, my name is Stacey Chambers, and I'm a teacher of students with visual impairments in Texas. I'm also the founder of the ECC and Me because I'm passionate about partnering with parents and teachers to find meaningful ways to work on the expanded core curriculum for students with visual impairments. The ECC is a set of 9 areas with skills that children with visual impairments may need extra help learning so that they can reach their full potential. I've been asked to share some tips with parents on ways you can work with your child with a visual impairment. So I'd like to just touch on all 9 areas of the ECC and offer a tip or two on how you can help your child at home. The first area of the ECC is compensatory skills. These are the skills your child needs to be able to access their school and academics. Sometimes we think about it only as braille or large print, but it also has to do with math tools, organization skills, and concept development. My tip for parents is that I really think you have a unique opportunity with your child at home to work on that concept development. One way that you can do that is by really thinking about how to narrate all the things going on around you or things that may be beyond their line of sight. So if you hear the garbage man pulling up, maybe explain what that sound is and what that process looks like. Help them get their hands dirty in the kitchen and in the garden, and really help explain all those little details that they may not be able to see. I think what this does is really help build a sense of curiosity, and that's really important because that helps them to begin to ask questions about things they don't know and really fill those gaps that they may have. The next ECC area is sensory efficiency. This is an important area because we want our children to develop the use of all of their senses to their best potential. For parents, one idea I have in this area is to think about when you're at the grocery store or the mall, what sounds and smells do you experience that could tell you about where you are in the store and how to get to where you need to go? And also maybe what you're experiencing. So if you're at the grocery store and you're in the produce aisle, maybe you take some time to explore some of those different fruits and vegetables and talk about the smells, the way they look, and maybe the way they feel. And think about maybe where the cash register is based on the sounds that we hear and what that could tell us about where to go. Just having those conversations at an early age can kind of just help to build those thoughts and understanding of how to use our senses to do what we need to do. Also, if your child's been prescribed a telescope, the grocery store is a great place to bring it because you can use it to see the overhead signs and to maybe help locate something that you're looking for. And I would really recommend just doing that, and it can be a great place and a motivating place to work on sensory efficiency skills. Another area of the ECC is orientation and mobility, and this has to do with how we can travel safely and efficiently. Your child may have an orientation and mobility specialist. So my tip for you would be to talk to them regularly and really find out what they're working on. What can you be practicing at home that are going to help build those skills for independence? Because we really want your child to be ready to be independent, and the more practice they have, the better. I know a lot of times our parents are just most comfortable holding our child's hand for as long as possible. And of course, that is okay. But we want to know that when it's time to not hold hands crossing the street or down that sidewalk, that they have the skills that they need in order to be safe and to be independent when they're ready. So I would just encourage you to talk to your orientation and mobility specialist and really practice those skills and techniques that they may be working on in school. The next area is social skills. Social skills are really important for people with a visual impairment. Sometimes social skills can be the make or break on whether they get or keep a job. So working on those skills early is really important. One thing I would encourage parents to do would be just even at a very young age, focusing on helping your child face the person that they're speaking with while they're speaking and also while they're listening, and trying to maintain an appropriate distance of personal space, especially with people outside of your home. I think the more you can work on this early and often, the better it will be for your child. Independent living skills. This is such an important area of the expanded core curriculum, and one that as teachers, It's an area that we can touch on and talk about, but it's really something that tends to happen and be practiced most often in the home. And I understand it can be so hard because sometimes the skills just take longer, and it takes a whole lot of patience to give your child the opportunity to practice them over and over when it's just easier sometimes to do it yourself. And I totally understand that. But my tip for parents would be just to think about what skills other children in their age are doing and really make it a priority to practice those things and to make it really important for your family to try to work towards those age appropriate skills. And if you don't know some of the things that you need to know in order to do that with your child, if you need some help, there are agencies and your teachers are always willing to help find those tips and techniques to make that possible. But something that we often battle with children with visual impairments and adults with visual impairments is sort of this learned helplessness that, it's just kind of easier if I let somebody else do it for me. And I think parents can really help to battle that mentality by encouraging their child to learn to do things on their own. The next area is assistive technology. Assistive technology can be low-tech items and high-tech items, and these are things that can be used at school and home. So my tip here would be to ask your teacher, what kinds of assistive technology do we have at school? What are they using, and what can we be practicing at home? And I would just say, embrace the technology, embrace all of it, be curious about it, ask your child about it. How can we use it at home to do our homework? How can we use the technology in the community to be efficient in the things we need to do? Your child over time may develop a very deep toolbox of tools, things that they will learn to use in certain circumstances. And the most successful students and people with visual impairments know what those tools are and are ready to use them when they need to. And kids can have a lot of resistance to that, especially in the teen years. So I really encourage parents to embrace those tools, make them part of your daily life, and that really helps to show the value and get the kids on board. Another area is the career education area. And this is important because we want our children to know what careers are available to them, what things are they passionate about, and what might they be good at, and what limitations do they have, what barriers might they need tools or technology to overcome so that they can do that job. So my tip for parents would be just to talk about what careers do we encounter when we're out in the community? What jobs are there? And what jobs do the people in our family have? It's just a really simple way to start talking about career education. Another area is self-determination. I think self-determination is probably one of the most important areas of the expanded core curriculum. And really, it honestly weaves through all the 9 areas. It's helping our children know what their visual impairment is, what limitations might I have, how can I overcome that, when do I need to ask for help, and understanding if I am able to do something, then I am going to do it. And I really think this is a mentality that is so important to embrace at an early age and at home and at school. And I really just encourage you to understand that this is part of the expanded core curriculum for a reason. It's something that does need to be taught and focused on for our children with visual impairment because it does not always come naturally. So I just encourage you, one easy way to begin at an early age is to talk about what their visual impairment is and give them the words to describe it, understand what limitations that they might have visually. And what does that mean? Does that mean that sometimes we have a tool? Does that mean that we need assistance in this certain area? And I think that understanding that can really help build their confidence to know how to overcome any barrier that they might have. Our last area of the expanded core curriculum is recreation and leisure. And of course, this can be the most fun area, but I love this area because I think it encompasses almost all of them. I think it just can be a really fun way to work on those social skills, independent living, self-determination, sensory efficiency. You can really build it in to recreation and leisure. These are the games and sports, hobbies that your child may develop. But it's not always so easy because you want to find things that are accessible and safe. But I really think it's important for parents just to remember that we all need those things in our life to have a fulfilling life. And sometimes we have to get creative on that. But I think it's really important because the ability to take risks is a important characteristic of a person that really shows success later in life. And I think recreation and leisure activities are a great place to take kind of safe risks, whether that's out on the field or on the game board or in just trying something new. So I really encourage you to reach out in your community to think about what activities might be available, whether that's goal ball or baseball. But sometimes karate or swimming can be also really great and safe places for our children with visual impairments to do some physical activity. But also just the hobbies and the games. There are so many different things that are accessible that are important to bring into your home if you can. And so I just encourage you to reach out in your community. A lot of what I've talked about today is collaborating with your community and your teachers. And I think that if we can create that sense of collaboration and understanding that our goal is the same, that we want your child to be fully ready for what's to come after school. And it takes that collaboration and all of the little things every day to slowly build all these 9 areas of the expanded core curriculum. But it's so important. It's so important that we take all of those opportunities when we can. So I appreciate your time. If you have more questions about the expanded core curriculum, there's certainly a lot of resources, and my website is www.theeccandme.com. You can find some more information there, and my Etsy shop has some subscription boxes in Braille and large print that has some great opportunities for hands-on learning and books, and I would love for you to get involved in that as well. Thank you so much.